during Game 3 tonight, the NBA Finals at halftime in 7 major cities, an advertisement will run that is paid for courtesy from the Yocha Dehe Wintun Nation, which is it's a California tribe, and it's in direct response to the Redskins name debate. Let's go ahead and play the ad, and I'll get your thoughts on the other side.
Proud, forgotten, Indian, Navajo, Blackfoot, Inuit, and Sioux, survivor, spiritualist, patriot, Sitting Bull, Hiawatha, and Jim Thorpe, mother, father, son, daughter, chief, Mills, Geronimo, unyielding, strong, indomitable. Native Americans call themselves many things. The one thing they don't.
All right, LeVar, pretty poignant ad there. Very well done, and I want to ask you, what effect do you expect this ad to have on the ongoing debate about the Redskins team name?
I mean, maybe they should have brought the entire point home with that ad. I almost feel like they might have missed an opportunity there. I know you're saying this is one thing that we don't call ourselves, but I mean, are we supposed to put the context clues together? To me, if you're putting this in markets where they have no idea what's going on in terms of the debate, I almost feel like you left it up to a lot of interpretation.
It's too subtle without saying, like, hey, this is offensive.
Just say it's offensive. Say it's racist. Say it's offensive. Say I'm offended by it. Like, okay, I get the history and the proud tradition and the names, but I don't feel like you drove the point home. I think that's
part of the point is it may be subtle in some ways, but in other ways, I mean, the fact that it's the very end like that and it's a very recognizable brand, nationwide NFL team, people are going to sort of understand that.
But you're saying we don't call ourselves that.
Right.
I mean, I get that. You don't call yourselves that. I get that. But did you drive the point home? I'm just speaking from a consumer standpoint. Did you drive the point home? If I am absolutely ignorant to what the debate is that's going on. That's I don't know. That's the first thing I thought of.
Well, I wonder how many people are completely ignorant to that right now at this point.
That's my point. I think it's a compelling ad, but the question was, is it going to change very many minds? I don't know that there are too many people who care about this issue who aren't dug in very deeply on their side already at this, and I think that so. In a sense, to have this ad air is another step in a very slow march toward maybe changing the national conversation on this. But is it gonna create immediate change? I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think the Redskins like the idea of being bullied into change.
Sure, of course.
And people, nobody likes to be told what to do. They want to change on their own terms. You bring up maybe the Masters situation years ago when
Martha Burke.
Right. And it eventually happened, but they were staunch. They didn't want to be pushed into it, even though they may have known they were wrong at the time, or they may have felt like they were right.
Dan, you've written a lot about this topic. What are your thoughts on the new ad?
No, I think that Keith has it absolutely right. I think that there might be like casual people out there who might think that it's a well done ad and kind of poignant, like you said. I think people who really, really care about this issue already sort of know where they stand and probably aren't changing their minds really. I think the people that I've heard changing their minds in recent years have been people who are just so fed up with the whole debate that they want it to go away. And so it's not really that they've changed their mind on whether or not the name is offensive. They're just really, they want to hear about their football team and not about the football team's name. But then there's also the other question of like younger people. Is this going to be like a generational thing where people who are now teenagers or kids or whatever are growing up with this being controversial, and maybe when they're adults they sort of have
you have 4 minutes on a national platform.
60
that
seconds.
was 60 seconds. That's even worse. You did not drive the point home.
But the question is, what's the audience they're going for? Isn't it? I mean, you guys, to your point of both sides being dug in, especially around this area. I would totally agree. But this is airing in Los Angeles and Chicago and in other markets where the more casual fan may not be.
Drive the
But
point
also,
home
this is
with
NBA
that.
Finals. These are sports fans
Sure.
who probably have an idea, A, that this has been happening, and also, have felt one way or the other about the team and its name over the course of the past few years when this has been.
I mean, you
brought
got to
up frequently.
if you're reaching out to the masses, you have to try to employ them because here's the problem. They're running into the problem of not being a significant enough race for this to be racial. So you have to appeal to that inner feeling of, well, when this happened in the times of segregation, this is what happened. This is how a group of people, and it wasn't just black people that came together. A lot of people look at those times with Martin Luther King and with Malcolm X and all those times when those people who fought in the civil rights movement, this was just a black thing. It was not just a black thing. You had presidents getting involved. You had all kinds of different influential people of different racial backgrounds getting involved. I just felt like it was so, okay, here's the history. It's a proud history, and we don't call ourselves. No.
Well,
Let me
present the opposite view, because a lot of times Redskins fans have said, this is outrageous that you're calling us a racist. We're not racist. We're not doing anything to be racist. I think that there's also hesitation to be too confrontational to get people defensive.
But that's why you have to call it out, though. At this point, if you want to change,
Do you think it needs to be more confrontational?
If you want change, you have to go for change. There has never been change in this large of a society within culture without social agitation. There's always going to be discomfort for change. It's never a simple deal.
I mean, they got
change is never easy.
They got us, the ad, whatever you think about that ad, every sports site in the country is talking about it today.
Sure, because it's the Redskins and it's a name debate, and it's just continuing on. That's why they're talking about it. I'm sitting here getting ready to look at something that's going to have me okay. Wow, that breaks the camel's back. That wasn't
you don't
a strong.
see this as a major shift in the
But
ongoing
I don't
debate.
think there's anything out there that can break the camel's back, so to speak. I think every part of it is going to be a small step toward change. Almost, both of you guys have made good points on this. Change in the civil rights movement happened over time. You change a generation as you grow up.
Right.
You see things differently than your forefathers did or your actual fathers.
I mean, it's a story I've said before, I think, on the show, but my daughter came home from school one day last year and was saying, a kid in school was saying the Redskins name is not nice or whatever. That I can't imagine that was happening 30 years ago. Right. And if you're getting that from school, then that's sort of outside of the control of families who might love the Redskins and whatever.
If the Redskins won the Super Bowl this year, the name debate would continue on. But in my opinion, would it have as much ferocity or momentum behind it as it does now with a losing team? I'd say absolutely not.
I'd
say absolutely
we need to move
not.
on, but I need to put a bow on this. But this sort of got back popular again in the mainstream
because of Robert Griffin III
because of
coming
RG3
here.
when they made the run to the playoffs, when they got good again. So I would actually argue the opposite. If they make it to the Super Bowl,
They didn't even
I think
win.
it becomes even bigger.
If they make it to a Super Bowl this year, for example, it would be 2 weeks straight of Redskins name talk.
That's exactly right. They wouldn't
But
even be talking about
does
RG3.
it change?
Well, I don't know.
That doesn't mean it necessarily changes,
not-
but it's
that's
right
whole
there at the
point.
top of everybody's.
It doesn't. They're going to be more supportive of a winning team than they are of this topic, and that's sad and unfortunate that that's what this is. But that ad did nothing to pluck at the people that they have to employ other groups to want to get involved with what's going on, and they absolutely missed on that with that ad. Just truth. That's just truth.
That'll be our final point on this for this show. We'll definitely come back at it. Quick note that next